Hi, good evening everybody. In this video, we're going to do an all-time Sabres Dream Team coming up. Okay, a shout out goes to Cryptic Crusader, and he asked me just today actually if what about an idea for an all-time Sabres Dream Team. I thought it was a great idea. It's something I really looked forward to slapping together. And we're going to have a little fun with this. And remember, this is just my guys, the guys that I would pick. All-time Sabres Dream Team. So let's get started. And we'll do the first line. Folks, I'm not much of a Sabres fan if I don't pick this as the top line in a Sabres Dream Team. The French Connection absolutely gets the nod for the top in every position, left wing, center, right wing. Goes to Martin, Perreault, and Robert. Okay, so let's go with the second line. On my second line, I reunited Andreychuk with LaFontaine, but I got Danny Gare in right wing over McGillney. I got Danny Gare. I got to give Gare the nod. I do. I've seen both their careers and what they've meant to this organization, historically speaking, and Gare, hands down, gets the nod. He has to. So I got Gare on the second line with LaFontaine and Dave Andreychuk. All right, let's go on to third line. On our third line, I got Thomas Vanek, Danny Briere, and Alex McGillney on our third line. Don't forget, guys, they didn't have to play together. This is just a fun thing, right? So I got Vanek, Briere, McGillney as our all-time third line. All right? And the fourth line, I got Craig Ramsay, Mike Peca, and Don Luce. Yes, I know Don Luce was center, but Luce had to cut this, and it was the only way I could get him to cut this in the forwards. So Luce gets a bit of an asterisk here. But Luce has to cut this squad. He just has to. I mean, I can't be in good conscience not have Don Luce up there. I just can't. So Don Luce absolutely has to cut this. Has to cut this squad. So this is that's what I got. So for our first line, I got Martin, Perreault, and Robert. Second line, Andreychuk, LaFontaine, Danny Gare. Third line, Thomas Vanek, Danny Briere, and Alex McGillney. And our fourth line, which would be the most incredibly defensive line probably ever, with Ramsay, Luce, and Peca. I mean, my God. What a brutal line that would be to play against. I can't even imagine. Okay, here we go. Now keep in mind, before I do the defensemen, 5 of them are left-handed. Guys, back in the day, and this is why I don't really care about left-sided, right-sided defensemen. You'll find that kind of weird with me. It doesn't really faze me. I believe that when you're in the pro level, you can alternate left to right. You really can. And back in the day, most of our guys were left-handed shooters. You know, it just was the way it was in the NHL back in the day. But it is what it is, and let's just get it down there. And this could go in a lot of different ways, but I had my first pairing as Mike Ramsey and Jim Schoenfeld. I liked, Mike Ramsey was kind of like I always forget his name on Detroit, and he's one of the greatest defensemen ever. I always compare him to this guy, and it's like the third video I've done this. You know, Lidstrom, Willie Lidstrom. I always compare him, Nicholas Lidstrom. See, Willie, I'm thinking of the other one, Nick Lidstrom. I always kind of look at Ramsey like he was our Lidstrom. You know what I mean? That's just kind of how I see it. And Schoenfeld was a beast. He was just a beast. And I would have this as my first pairing, historically. My second pairing, I got Phil Housley and Bill Height. And Bill Height, for some of you folks that didn't see him, some of you younger folks that didn't see him, he might have been, historically speaking, our most steady defenseman ever. You know, he might be the Lidstrom, actually, of the Buffalo Sabres when I look at it from that angle. I mean, my God, but he didn't have the... No, I just have to say that Bill Height was just so steady. He was one of those guys that, Game 7 in overtime in a Stanley Cup final, I'd have no fear if Bill Height was on the ice, that something bad will happen when he's on the ice. It'd have to be a clean-cut, perfect thing to get past this guy under pressure. He was just really, I found he was one of our most steady defensemen ever, just my opinion. All right, and my bottom pairing. I got Jerry Corab and Jocelyn Guberman as our bottom pairing. Guberman was one of those, another guy that was very, very steady on our blue line, that maybe didn't get enough respect back in the day because he was on such a stacked team. But if you look at his numbers historically, his numbers were great. His plus minus was great as a Sabre. His physical presence was always out there. Jerry Corab, he was called King Kong Corab for a reason, folks, you know. Corab, I remember when I seen him on the Kings playing again eventually, just didn't seem right. You know, he wasn't a Sabre again at that point. But yeah, and I fought with putting Housley on top of Corab. I did. But I'm looking at it that he was the only guy that was so gifted offensively in the history of our team was Phil Housley on the blue line. Phil Housley was a special talent. He was like our Bobby Orr, if you want to look at it that way. And Bobby Orr, of course, was talented in every way, well, not just, you know, offensively. But Phil Housley was just such a gifted player. I had to put him on the second pairing. And Bill Height was just so steady. I had to put Bill Height. And it's nothing against Corab or Guberman. Really, especially Corab, I know. But we're talking all-time Sabres. So Corab made the list. Look at it that way. You know, for you fans out there say, I like Corab better. Well, what can I tell you? This is just my picks. And goalies, without a doubt, number one, we all know who that is. Dominic Hasek for sure gets the nod as easily number one. I mean, it's a runaway. Number one in history. I wouldn't trade Dominic Hasek for anybody, any goaltender in NHL history. I wouldn't trade Dominic Hasek for. And in my opinion, the second greatest goalie in franchise history is, without a doubt, in my mind, and there's been some great ones, is Ryan Miller. I got Ryan Miller as our number two greatest goalie ever. And I want to put some honorable mentions here, so let me do that. I had to put two forwards, or it'll bug me. I only put one defenseman. Honorable mentions, I put Chris Drury and Timmy Connolly. because they're two of the forwards that, historically speaking, did a lot for our club. Mind you, I don't like Drury too much these days, but still. Defense, Brian Campbell. He might have been Housley 2.0, kind of. I say kind of, because Housley is a Hall of Famer for a reason. And goaltender Tom Barrasso, I have to put as the number 3. And yeah, I could have made a thing for Bob Solvay and Don Edwards, but I got to put Barrasso there. I do. You know, his numbers on Buffalo were still very good. And there it is. That's my guys. That's my 12 forwards, my 6 defensemen, my 2 goalies, and my 4 guys I'm kind of saying sorry to that they didn't cut the list, you know? So anybody there that you thought should be there, I didn't even remember to put it even as honorable mention, let me know what you think. Look, and when it comes to the history of this team, you know, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, okay, of the 18 players, 10 of the 18 players, folks, are from the 70s squad. You know, it was our greatest team ever and our greatest era ever. And we've been trying to get that going again since. We came close in 2006, I'll tell you that. And then if you look at the 80s, you know, you got Andrechuk. Is that the only forward? Yeah, I guess. No, McGillney was drafted in 89. No, that doesn't count. And then you got Housley. No, you got Andrechuk. You know, it's not much when you look at it. Housley, because I get mixed up because they still played some of them in the 80s, right? So I get mixed up. I'm thinking that we drafted in the 80s, and you know, so you got Andrechuk, you got Housley, and nobody here, and Barrasso over here, because I want to count these guys, kind of the taxi squad. I guess I should have called that a taxi squad instead of an honorable mention. Should have been a taxi squad. But anyway, that's just kind of where I look at it. Tell me what you think, guys. I'm closing shop. That's it. One video today. And I will be back from tomorrow. I've got to go get some pressure points done on me before this whole surgery thing. They're going to, I guess I finally will sign a waiver. Thank you. And get on this stupid thing. And so I should be home by the mid-afternoon tomorrow. And I'll put up something then. I got to get to bed early tonight, guys. You have a great night. I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a good one.